What is up, 2K crew? It is that time of the week again. Yes, it is podcast day, and man, 2Ks, I am super pumped up about this show because A, we do it every year, and B, we're usually really fucking wrong every year.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more fun because for those of you who don't know, we always do, regardless of what season it is, we'll do it again with football. We really don't do it with basketball, but it's because basketball isn't really that exciting until the playoffs, and even then, it seems like it lasts for 4 months, but that's neither here nor there. But if you're just joining us, every year we do a way too early predictions where we give you today we're going to run down both the AL and NL MVP, Cy Young, Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and we're going to get into some division winners as well. So it's going to be an exciting show. Yes, we know. That's why the title is way too early, because no one really knows. No one really knows how the season is going to end. Hell, when it comes to the Rookies of the Year, we might not even see the current, the Rookie of the Year even up in the bigs right now. So it's fun. It's fun. And for those of you that are watching live or watching the replay, go ahead and give us a nice like, subscribe, and comment, and share this awesome show with people in your crew. And speaking of crew, 2Ks, our 2K crew is pretty fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. That's for those of you that don't know, the 2K crew is our Facebook group, our fans of the show, and it's free to join. If you, I put a link in chat here, and I will feature it here real quick. Yes, want to join in all the good stuff? Join the 2K crew for free on Facebook, and there's the link. Go ahead and click that, answer the questions, and hell, I'll let you in. So go ahead and do that. And if you guys are listening on the audio side, go ahead and give us a follow, shoot us a comment, and because that's pretty much how the podcast world works. The more follows we get, we don't get subscribes anymore because people associate that with payment. So it is free to follow. So go ahead and give us a follow. And yeah, it's pretty much the box score, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we do to kind of start off the show. Throw all that out there so we can get into the good stuff. And lastly, if you're feeling super saucy and you want to support the show financially, go ahead and go to buyturboabeer.com and go ahead and buy us a beer, and we'll feature you on the show. As well as if you guys want to have any comments or questions or interject with your award winners, we'll go ahead and feature you on the show, and we'll tell you if we agree or disagree, and why. So let's go to this one. We pretty much went over the box score. So 2Ks. Start off with the American League, and we'll kind of work backwards because usually everyone wants to know the MVP, because that's obviously goes to not necessarily the best player in the game, but the most valuable to his team. And there's a lot of folks that would say too that your team needs to be in the playoffs or be even remotely relevant. And we've kind of seen with the MVP that kind of does hold true, because hell, we could give it to Trout every year. Yeah. Every year. And I do have, just to kind of, because you and I were talking about this last night. So kind of let's bring, see Morgan's super pumped about the AL MVP. Like I said, we're going to save this one for last, but just to kind of get your thought process going here. In 2020, it was Jose Abreu, 19 Mike Trout, 18 Mookie Betts. He was with the Red Sox. But he was with the good guys at that point. Now he's with the bad guys. And then 17 was Altuve, 16 Trout, 15 Josh Donaldson when he was with the Blue Jays, 14 Mike Trout, 13 and 12 was Miggy. 11 was Justin Verlander, and 2010 was Josh Hamilton. So just to kind of give you a backlog here. And when we're looking at the National League, Freddie Freeman was last year. We kind of pointed that out and kind of chatted about that in one of the previous shows. 19, Cody Bellinger. 18, Christian Yelich. 17, Giancarlo Stanton when he was with Miami. 2016, Chris Bryant. 15, Bryce Harper. 14, Clayton Kershaw, which you and I were talking about. I totally forgot Kershaw won it, to be honest with you, because I think we both thought Verlander was the last pitcher to win it. So, which kind of foreshadows some of our talk into this, but we're gonna make you wait for it. We're gonna tease you a little tickle of the balls, But after in 13 was McCutchen, 12 Buster Posey, 11 Ryan Braun, and 2010 Joey Votto. Totally forgot Joey Votto. Won an MVP, but let's kind of start off with the non-sexy. The non-sexy, in my opinion, would be the manager of the year, even though they're the ones that drive the boat, and we're seeing some. There's definitely been there's some new faces in new places, and there's been a lot of. Seems like the younger managers are kind of taking over baseball. We still have Dusty Baker hanging in there, but we saw Ron Gardenhire retire. We've seen some of these older managers retire, kind of give the helm to these younger managers. So, with that being said, like you said, we're going to start off with the American League. So 2Ks, who is going to be your AL Manager of the Year and why?
Yeah, I was kind of in between on this one with going out to the AL West. Obviously, you just mentioned the younger managers, but these two guys that I kind of have in mind are some guys that have been around for quite a while now, and I look at Joe Maddon. Obviously, we talked about him last week and making the difference there, him being one, but I just think, and this guy's he doesn't really ever get talked about a whole lot, and just been Mr. Consistent. And I think when the postseason comes around this year, this might be the number one seed coming out of the American League. I'm gonna go Bob Melvin for the Oakland Athletics. Nobody really ever talks to him, and that's kind of the thing with the Oakland A's as a whole. Every single season, it seems like nobody's really ever talking about them
because they're out on the West Coast.
And yes, and they don't really have any big time names. I mean, year in, year out.
Matt Chapman should be a household name. Yes.
Matt
Olson should be a household name.
Should be, but they don't ever really get talked about.
You're very right.
And but man, they're so consistent. And watching them this year, I think they've won like 9-10 games in a row, I want to say.
At least, yeah.
And I just think from a lot of the baseball that I've watched so far, and I get it, it's early, we're still in the first month, but they have to be. I mean, and they got off to a terrible start. First, I think they lost 5 of their first 6 games, and now they've just turned everything around. And I think this is a team that's going to be there, competing for that number 1 seed in the American League going into the playoffs. And I think Bob Melvin's going to be the American League Coach of the Year.
Well, just to kind of I'm on. Let's see here. GamblingSites.org for this information, and Bob Melvin 2Ks. If you threw $1 on, and if he wins, as of this was published the 22nd, it came out. Bet you $1,000 plus $1,000. Leading this crew is Charlie Montoyo for the Blue Jays, which I can see why people are on that bandwagon. I can totally see. Young upstart team. Like we've pointed out, pitching might be a little bit of an issue here, but from the games I've seen, they're extremely competitive. The pitchers for the most part are keeping them in the game, so there's not like they're getting blown out. But so far, done a hell of a job.
Yeah.
And he's at plus 700. And just to kind of give you some other names on here, Aaron Boone is second at plus 750. Rocco Baldelli for the Twins at plus 800. My guy, Alex Cora for the Red Sox is plus 900. Dusty Baker for the Astros is plus 900, as well as Joe Maddon, the aforementioned Joe Maddon. And Terry Francona is tied with Tony La Russa and Bob Melvin at plus 1,000. My guy that I'm choosing for Manager of the Year is going to be Kevin Cash for the Tampa Bay Rays. And AJ Hinch is on the list at plus 1,400. Talk about a very, very young team. They've had ups and downs so far. I want to say that when I looked at the standings, they were 7-14. Probably not the start all the Tigers fans are looking for. But with that crew, I mean, you're going to have some hiccups. You're going to have some bumps in the road and some growing pains. Like you and I totally agree. He's the right guy for the job. So if you're looking for a dark horse, ladies and gentlemen, that's who I would put my money on. Or Chris Woodward for the Rangers. They're playing very good baseball right now. But like I said, if I'm a betting man, which 2Ks you know I am, which I've been taking a bath here lately, so I really don't know how much advice you want from me, but take it as you will. Take it as you will. But yeah, I'm going Kevin Cash. I'm going Kevin Cash on that. So, how about let's go Rookie of the Year, 2Ks, in the American League.
Yeah, this one's tough because I was really set in stone on the Mercedes kid from the White Sox, and he wasn't even one that we were talking about.
No.
Going into the season, we were talking about Joe Adell and with the Angels and Ryan Mountcastle with Baltimore,
Alex Baum,
and and the more that I've looked at this, and the more I looked into it this morning, and I remembered this name, especially starting us both being baseball card collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy's first Bowman is just insane. He doesn't have a rookie card yet, hasn't played a major league game yet, isn't up right now. But I think it's just a matter of time, and his team is playing pretty well right now, and they're not going to be able to hold this guy down very much longer. And that's Jared Kelenic.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said leading, and it's. I'm kind of just taking a flyer here because we haven't seen him play a game yet.
Wasn't he coming out of spring training dealing with some injuries that might have kind of caused it? And for those of you that don't know, he plays for the Mariners.
Yep.
Plays for the Mariners. And if I remember right, they were kind of planning on him breaking camp with them, and then had some sort of injury setback. So that might be why he's not up right now.
Yep.
But as far as prospects go, Seattle's got some studs.
Yeah.
They got him, Rodriguez. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So, for those M fans that haven't really been pumped up since Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro, that crew,
they're coming back.
Yes. And just so you know, your boy Jared Kelenic is number 2. Now, the rest of these odds are coming from VegasInsider.com, just so everyone knows. And I can credit my source, but. Jared Kelenic is number 2 at, what does that say? Plus 650. And there's some really, you already touched base on Ryan Mountcastle for the Orioles. Andrew Vaughn for the White Sox is another stud. We haven't really seen Adley Rutschman for Baltimore. Another big name, Tristan McKenzie, which we're watching pitch right now for the Indians. Kid's got gas and nothing but upside. And even Casey Mize is like right in the middle of this hunt and right above my rookie that we kind of talked about last week in Bobby Dahlbeck for the Red Sox. I mean, he's at plus 1,500. So, and there's Bobby Bradley. So if you guys collect cards, Bobby Bradley signs everything. But let's see, there's a couple more. Brendan McKay for the Rays, another stud pitcher. I got to go with the favorite on it. I'm kind of 2Ks. I'm torn. I've got on the left hand. I've got a guy who's kind of been proven already. Had a fantastic playoff run last year.
I know where you're going here with this one.
Or there's a prospect that hasn't even made it up yet for the same team. And this kid has had hype since day one. But yeah, he, to my knowledge, has not even... I don't even think he's been on Major League Field yet, to be honest with you. And so I'm stuck between the Tampa Bay Rays having Randy Arozarena, which, if you watched any of the World Series, any of the playoffs last year, the kid just caught fucking fire. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. And either that or Wander Franco. And I'm going to go... It's so boring picking the favorite. So I'm going to go Franco. That was my gut reaction. That's who I told you last night. I'm not faltering. I'm not floundering. Going to stick with Wander Franco. And... just because, like you said, we're card collectors, and I've got a PSA 10 of his first Bowman, so I'm really hoping he gets up, blows up, and that card goes through the fucking roof. But I'm 2 for 2 with with giving the hardware to the Rays over here, 2Ks. And I really don't think you could go wrong with any of the top. And then your Mercedes that you brought up as third.
And nobody was even talking about him. Nobody was. No, I can't even lie. I didn't even know who he was.
Me either.
Until after the first game of the season, where he has the 4-hit game to start the season out. So.
And he's very hard to miss because the dude's gigantic.
Yeah.
I mean, reminds me a lot of one of the guys I love watching is Fran Reyes. I mean, he is. You talk about hitting some fucking bombs. Same with this Mercedes kid. I mean, I'm pretty sure doesn't. I don't think he has any cheap home runs or any cheap hits. It seems like everything that comes off his bat is 112 miles an hour or better. So definitely doesn't get cheated. But the dude's gigantic. So it's Fran Reyes. So. Both the same body type, so yeah, I can really see how people could compare them. But just kind of taking taking a look at this list, there's one team that's not. I mean, they have a Dane Dunning for the Rangers, and for those of you that are card collectors or want to. Kind of keep an eye on prospects. Keep an eye on the Rangers for the next couple years because they've got some fucking studs. They got Acuna's brother, and if he's anything like Ronald, oh my god. And there's some people that I've read that are projecting him to be better than older brother. So definitely, and they've got a ton of pitching prospects. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of handle that because, to be honest with you, the Rangers pitching is kind of what's been holding them down for quite some time. So we'll see what goes on there. But yes, I'm firmly standing with Wander Franco for Rookie of the Year. So how about in this one kind of getting to the Cy Youngs. Getting the Cy Young. Did I take a picture of that? Okay, nope, did not. I don't think so. Okay, I did. Cy Young, I kind of gave you the past 10 years for the MVP. Do the same thing with Cy Young. And this is same thing, VegasInsider.com. For the National League, 2020 we had Trevor Bauer. He was with the Reds. 2019, 2018. Both Jacob Degrom, and I'm pretty sure combined in those 2 years he might have had 10 wins. I'm exaggerating, but not really. 2017 and 16 was Max Scherzer. Both of those were with the Nats. Jake Arrieta was 15, Kershaw 14, 13, and a flashback and one of my favorite pitchers to watch, R.A. Dickey in 2012, throwing an 80-mile-an-hour knuckleball. And then Kershaw again in 11, and R.I.P. Roy Halladay in 2010 when he was with the Phillies. And American League last year was Shane Bieber. I mean, to be honest with you, 2020 was, you probably midway through the season, you could have penciled both of these dudes in to win, and rightfully so because they dominated, both of them. 2019 was Verlander with Houston. 18 was Blake Snell. 17 Corey Kluber. 2016, Rick Porcello with the Red Sox. 15 was Dallas Keuchel. 14 was Kluber again. 13 was Max Scherzer when he was a Tiger. 2012, David Price. 2011, Justin Verlander with the Tigers, of course, in 2011. And 2010, kind of a forgotten name, but one of the most dominant pitchers of probably the late 90s, early 2000s. King Felix Hernandez. So that's kind of the history there. Now, will history repeat itself, 2Ks? With all, we're going American League right now. You riding Shane Bieber again? I mean, no. I think Cleveland fans are kind of going, we better enjoy this kid while we can because we're not going to pay him. If you're not going to pay Lindor, you're not going to pay this guy. Yeah. Now, if the Indians were smart, they would have kept both of them, which, Bieber, I'm sure, is still on his, still has plenty, at least a few arbitration years left. Really, he's relatively young kid, where Lindor has been established. So, and of course, got the big paycheck in New York. which keep your eyes posted to this channel, because I'm gonna do a short where we'll get into that later. But just keep an eye out for a Francisco Lindor short video here. So 2Ks, who are you riding for the AL Cy Young?
Yeah, I'm taking a flyer here. I mean, pretty much everything I read, everybody was either saying Bieber or Cole.
Yep.
They were the only names there. So
they are the two favorites.
And
they are the two.
I'd like to know if this guy is even on your odds list there.
Sure.
I'm going Chicago White Sox, Michael Kopech. American League Cy Young. I think it was only beneficial to him not playing in the short season last year. I know the year before that there was some injuries. There was some injuries even when he was in the Boston organization before that trade. And I know that in the first couple games that I watched him,
he was involved in the Chris Sale trade.
Yes,
for those of you that don't know.
Yeah. And in the first couple games watching him pitch, he is electric, and
he's got some gas.
Strikes out a lot of batters, and he's looked really good actually. He's probably been the most impressive pitcher that I've watched, maybe with the exception of Degrom and with the Mets. But he's my flyer. I'm going with him to win American League Cy Young.
And you are absolutely correct. He is not on my list. So for those of you out there that are in 2Ks, if you want to throw some money, the odds that I have, who's the last guy on the list here? Last guy on the list is Mike Minor with Kansas City. Mike Minor, plus 5,000. So you might want to get on your Barstool app and at least throw a couple bucks on Kopech. Yeah. I mean, what the hell? Yeah. What the hell? Yeah. And as a matter of fact, I might do that as well, because you're very right. I haven't seen him pitch live yet. I've definitely kept an eye on him, just because, like we pointed out, he was with Boston, and when there's a big trade like that, where there's prospects that are studs. I usually always tend to keep an eye on them just to kind of see how things go. But the top guy on the list here for Chicago is Giolito, which rightfully so. Established.
Yeah.
Had kind of an up and down season so far. Probably didn't, there's things that, of course, when it comes to, especially out of the gate early in the season, it seems like the hitting is more, the hitting is ahead of the pitching. So everybody calm down, especially White Sox Nation. I know how rowdy y'all get. Even though 2K's picked one of your boys, I still think Giolito's going to... I mean, he's obviously the number one, So everyone calm down. Well, let me just throw some names out here. We mentioned Garrett Cole and Shane Bieber. They are the favorites to win this. Let's see. You touched on the manager in Oakland. Jesus Luzardo is probably in the middle of the pack here, right above one of my boys in Boston, Nathan Eovaldi, which got kind of roughed up Friday, but that's okay. And then another Oakland pitcher, Frankie Montas, which I've seen him pitch a couple times and very impressed. Eduardo Rodriguez from Boston, Zach Greinke, Casey Mize, Dylan Bundy, which is kind of a shock. And again, Dylan Cease, another White Sox pitcher. Keuchel and Kluber which Kluber's kind of had a rocky start there in New York, which I'm not gonna say I'm unhappy about, but that's okay. But one guy that I intentionally left off the list here, and I was when we did the show last week, 2Ks, I was kind of going back and forth between this guy and your boy, name totally flew, pitcher that you really, really love, the Dodgers, Trevor Bauer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's why I didn't get it, because I don't fucking love him.
But I was torn between following Trevor Bauer and this kid, and yes, I'll admit I took the lazy part, and because Trevor Bauer is, just look at him in. If you didn't see his start yesterday, started out kind of rocky. Tatis Jr. took him deep twice, and probably celebrated a little more than what he should. but
it ain't.
But,
it wasn't even. It's no different than what
Bauer does.
Yeah.
And you know what? I actually like Bauer's response. He goes, celebrate all you want. I don't care. I don't care. So, yeah, and if Bauer would have had an issue with it, then yes, he would have been the most hypocritical person on, in baseball, and I'm pretty sure he knows that. But like I said, I was trying to decide which pitcher I wanted to follow. I took the lazy route, but Tyler Glasnow, and yes, I am riding this Tampa, bandwagon, I guess, but it's kind of hard to pick, not at least not acknowledge these guys, but to pick them. And so, yeah, I've got yet another piece of hardware going down to Tampa, and they're just a good team. They traded away Blake Snell, let Charlie Morton walk. Pitching staff's still solid. And they pretty much have all the same position players and everything back again from last year. And they're going to get a whole year of a Rosarena. So, yes, even though they are in the same division as my Red Sox, you got to give props where they're due. And they're just a good team top to bottom. So, not surprising there. And if you watch Tyler Glasnow pitch, he probably has the most effortless 100 miles an hour fastball that I've ever seen. It doesn't hurt that he's probably like 6'5", because he's a giant. I mean, he's very tall and skinny and lanky. But yeah, it looks like he's literally playing catch with the catcher, and it's 99. So yeah, that's where I'm going with that. So that being said, enough of the T's, 2Ks. Enough of the T's. Probably. When it comes to the MVP, let's just lay it. I mean, it's not a secret. Mike Trout's the favorite. In the National League, it's Acuna's the favorite, which is why I picked him for the thumbnail. And so you and I have talked kind of at great lengths about we're probably spoiled watching Mike Trout. Just how everything looks so easy. Greatest player of our, especially our time. By the time he's done, could be the greatest player ever. Who knows? But it's kind of like that Michael Jordan thing where, and we've seen it in the NBA with LeBron as well. You just can't give it to him every year. You just can't give it to him every year. And I gave you the rundown. He's got 3 of them. One could argue he probably had a better season, and the dogs even agree that the year Miguel Cabrera won it and won the Triple Crown, you could argue that Trout had better stats and was more valuable to his team than Miggy. But keep in mind, I think a lot of that had to do with Tigers were in the playoffs. The Tigers were making, they were perennial. They would win the Central almost every year. Whereas with the Angels, they weren't really competitive. They were, 15 games back or not even sniffing a wild card. So did that have a lot to do with it? That's kind of, we'll get into, I kind of teased upon it with Jacob Degrom. It seems like that dude probably in the history of baseball has some of the worst run support and loses 1-0, 2-1 all the fucking time. So when it comes to your AL MVP, are you going with Trout or are you shying away?
Yeah, I'm going with Mike Trout. Yeah,
it's hard. I mean, it's hard not to.
The worst part about it is he's a West Coast guy, and us being over here, we don't get to watch him very often. So it's almost like we've been robbed of being able to watch the best player. I mean, and because of that, ESPN we don't get to see Angels games on ESPN. But it's always basically the same teams every night. So
Red Sox, Yankees.
Yeah, Red Sox, Yankees, and then if they do the late game, then it's going to be the Dodgers and the Padres now.
Especially now, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's just, we're
which ironically enough, that's who's on tonight. So
yeah, you don't expect anything else, but no, he's the best player on the planet, most consistent player on the planet. I mean, it's just there's nobody better, and he might not win it this year, but if I'm putting any money at all on that competition, I'm taking him. I mean, I To tell you the truth, when I was looking into this, I didn't even do any research on anybody else because I just said, oh, it's going to be Mike Trout.
Well, let me kind of give you the rundown here. It's no secret, Trout is by far and he's just for those betting odds again, VegasInsider.com. This is the gap. This is the gap between first and second. Trout's plus 225. Second on the list is Shohei Ohtani, which I thought was really weird to be the second one. But plus 1,100. Plus 1,100.
Mm-hmm.
There's 800 plus between the two. And then oddly enough, third they have Alex Bregman. Fourth, JD Martinez. Fifth, Jose Ramirez for Cleveland, who's having an awful start to the season. I could see this being a sleeper right here. Byron Buxton is having a fantastic start to his season. The Twin center fielder is not. He's always had Gold Glove defense. It's always been the offense with him that hasn't kind of translated, and he's off to a great start this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Twins have kind of been off to a shaky start, but he's one of the shining parts in that. Then our boy Vlad Jr., Aaron Judge. If you're going repeat with Abreu, they're laying plus 2,000. And then they have another Angel, Anthony Rendon, DJ LeMahieu, Rafi Devers, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Giancarlo Stanton, Bo Bichette, Jan Moncada, Matt Chapman, Xander Bogaerts, Gleyber Torres. Which, again, the start that Gleyber's had, I wouldn't put him on this list. But he's plus 3,300, so if you're looking to make some moves there, could he play into it? Sure, he has all the ability, but probably not the start of the season he's looking for. But my pick here, I'm going Bo Bichette. And just so you know, my odds are plus 3,300. Might go throw a couple bucks on this. And the sky's the limit with this kid. Again, getting back to card collecting, he was one of the first when I first got back into it. One of the guys that I pursued just because A, kid's a stud. B, comes from a good pedigree. His dad was an amazing ball player, a very underrated player. And just the overall aura of the kid. He seems like a good kid. He's paired with Vlad Jr., again from good pedigree. You got Kevin Biggio, again from great pedigree. And just need some pitching over there in across the border, which they're not even playing across the border yet. But taking a flyer on this one. And yes, there might be folks saying, well, Turbo, you're sticking with the AL East. Well, AL East is probably one of the best divisions in baseball. So get off my dick. But and for those of you that are wondering, there was not a Tampa Bay choice on here, but you can make a case for maybe Wander comes up and just drops dick and is the MVP. You never know. All right. 2Ks, let's rewind. Remix. Let's go to the NL. And to be honest with you, it was easier for me to make my choices in the AL than it was the NL.
Mm-hmm.
I think in my opinion, the NL is, I think it's more competitive. I think it's closer knit. And when we get to division winners, I have a feeling you're going to see some discrepancies a lot between 2Ks and I. So we'll get more in depth as we do every season. About we'll run down each division, give you the order we think they're going to finish in, and to kind of before we get into NL, I have had some people reach out and be like, Turbo, you guys gonna cover the NFL draft? The answer is, of course. Of course. What we found in the last couple years is that it is really, really hard to do a mock draft, especially, us being amateurs, what we do, and not have the time really to put into, and especially this year with all the ESPN mock drafts. Now they're doing trades, so we'll just do a reaction to it. We'll do a reaction to it. I guarantee we'll take a look at how Jerry Jones fucks this draft up for the Cowboys, like he always does, and see if he goes sexy or see if he goes smart. So that's going to be next week, obviously, because the draft is Thursday. You're listening to this probably on Tuesday. So even if we did do a mock, it'd just be a couple days early. But we're definitely going to give you our reactions. Who won? Who lost? The biggest movers, biggest shakers. And to be honest with you, there's been a ton of trades so far, which I have a feeling is going to be a precursor as to what's going to happen draft day. So keep an eye out for that next week as well. Keep an eye out for that. And for those of you that are watching live, we're giving you, just to kind of recap, we're giving our way too early predictions on AL awards, NL awards. We're doing head coach, rookie of the year, Cy Young. Excuse me, I had to think about that. Cy Young, and then our MVP. And then we're going to get to our division winners. So NL Manager of the Year 2Ks. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, this one to me is pretty easy. I think the Dodgers are going to just run away in the National League. This roster is.
They should.
This roster is insane.
Yeah.
The players that they have on this team is just it's an all-star team basically. And I think you're going to be looking at possibly, one of the best overall records for a major league team of all time. And that's why I think Dave Roberts is going to be just going to kind of run away with it, easily take it.
They set a record for the best start of a reigning World Series champion. So the likelihood of them making it back to the World Series is very high. Very high. And to be honest with you, Dave Roberts is not the favorite to win this. He is not the favorite,
and that could hurt him too, is having that roster. But if we're going down the stretch towards the end of the season and they're flirting with, I don't know what it is offhand, record for most wins in a regular season.
Yeah, it's like the 1918 Yankees or some shit. I know the M's back in the 90s came close, but remember what happened to that team? They lost in the first round of the playoffs. So, not to say that's going to happen here, but. Yeah, Brian Snedeker for the Braves is the one that's favored to this. And again, this is gamblingsites.org. Your boy Dave Roberts is second. My guy is third. That's Don Mattingly. Donnie Baseball. And did I don't think I did. But he's got, and it pains me to say this on more than one level because for those of you that have followed the show or even remotely know me, you know my distaste for Mr. Jeter. And it's been well documented on this show that not a big fan. Do I respect him as a player? Absolutely. For what he did between the lines, you cannot argue the man was a great baseball player. And we're going to see him finally go into the Hall of Fame this summer, which obviously for the reasons what's going on in the world did not happen last summer. But Jeets will get his day in Cooperstown, which he should. For those, I've never met a single baseball fan that can tell me that Jeter does not belong in the Hall of Fame. But neither here nor there. Looking at what he did to reconstruct, basically blow that whole fucking organization up. We talked about last week, trading Yelich, trading Stanton, which especially the Yelich trade, it seemed like they got, some Gatorade and sunflower seeds for him. But we all, and I'm talking about you, me, everyone on ESPN, everyone on MLB Network, we're wondering what the hell he was doing. And I think Donnie Baseball is the right dude to lead that team. And they're shocking some folks. They're a good ball team. Yeah. They are a really, really good ball team. And as you guys are going to find out here shortly, one of 2K's one of his new favorite players is a Marlin. Some of the other names on the list here, obviously Jay Stingler, which I remember when the Padres hired him, you and I had no idea who the fuck this dude was. Now he's got the keys to a fucking Corvette or a race car because look at A, the prospects they're bringing up, B, the moves they made in the offseason to get the pitching where it needs to be. And thank goodness that Tatis is not down for the year with shoulder surgery. I mean, his time on the injured list has done well, because all he's done in like the 3 games as he's been back is hit bombs. He hit 2 last night. He hit 2 the night before. The kid's on fire, and doesn't shock me, because the kid is lightning in a bottle, and like you and I talked about, could possibly be the next face of baseball. So, but yeah, and Luis Rojas for the Mets, not buying that. David Ross for the Cubs, Craig Counsell for the Brewers. Another, and probably a sneaky pickers, Joe Girardi with the Phillies. He's been a great fit there. The Phillies been playing magnificent baseball. All of a sudden, Bryce Harper is looking like the Bryce Harper, from the first 3 or 4 years of his career. Seems like every time I look up, he's hitting another home run or standing on second. And just seems like there's a little bit more pep in his step. Let's put it that way. And then kind of round out the list, Torey Lovullo for the Diamondbacks, David Bell for the Reds. The Reds have come back down to earth a little bit, but they're playing great baseball. Gabe Kapler for the Giants, Dave Martinez for the Nationals, Bud Black for the Rockies, which I'm not buying that, and Derek Shelton for the Pirates. I'm not buying that either. But, so yeah, I've got the Marlins, you've got the Dodgers, and yeah, and if that happens to be who ends up in the ALDS or CS, I'd be cool with that. So Rookie of the Year. This, to me, is a little bit harder to pick in the National League as opposed to the American League.
Yeah.
They're really, like, we saw a Rosarena. We know what he can do. With a lot of these guys, especially on this list, you're seeing some kids just break out. Some of them may not even be on rosters right now yet. So getting back to where I think the National League has surpassed the American League as far as talent's concerned, as far as the prospects are concerned. So where are you going with this? Because let me see the odds here. The odds are not, they're a little bit closer together for the first kind of 3 or 4, and then there's a bigger gambling gap. So where are you going with this?
I'm going with the team that you were just talking about, the Marlins, and I'm going with their second baseman in Jazz Chisholm,
which is, by the way, 2K's favorite player right now.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this kid, but I think it's just the flair. He brings that flair, almost like and not at all trying to compare him to Tatis or Acuna.
No, not yet.
But he brings that flair that those guys have,
sure.
And to that's a young team there. That's a young, exciting team that nobody's really talking about right now. And here, it might not be this year, and it might not be next year, but they're coming, and they're coming along, and they're going to be, as long as they keep some guys and they don't just start,
fire sailing again, which they historically have done. Yep. And I'm right there with you. This team could be competitive for a long time. The only thing that's standing in their way is the Braves. The Braves are that established team in that division. Yes, you have the Phillies. Yes, you have the Mets. The Mets are the Mets, even though under new ownership, new management, they're still the same Mets because they can't hit worth a damn. Just to kind of highlight some of the dudes on here. Let's see. I'll give you my guy because he's on the top of this list, and that's Kabryan Hayes, the third baseman for Pittsburgh, which broke camp with the team, but had some. He's on the injured list. Had a setback. He's supposed to be back this weekend. But for those of you card collectors, make sure you get in on his stuff early because I bought one of his rookie cards for $35 and it's up over $70 right now. So a little bit heads up, get in on this kid because the unfortunate part is he's in Pittsburgh. He's in Pittsburgh. But some of the other names that top this list is Sixto Sanchez, a young stud pitcher for your Marlins. Ian Anderson for Atlanta. Dylan Carlson, a stud for the Cardinals. Let's see, Joey Bart for the Giants. Christian Pache for the Braves, which he's defensively is major league ready. Yeah. He was up for a little bit last year. Hit just fine in that lineup. Even in spring training, hit great in that lineup. That's why he broke camp with him. And once the season started, I mean, you could tell the struggles were there. So he got sent back down to the alternate site, but he will be back up. I guarantee that. And then your boy Jazz, which I love watching him play. He's a string bean, probably 6'1", which is.
He's got pop.
Yeah,
he's got pop in his bat.
I mean,
left-handed swing.
A very pretty left-handed swing. I mean, you talk about levers and leverage. The dude has it. The dude
got blue hair.
It. Yeah,
I don't know why the fuck he's got blue hair, but.
Big Poppy starter kit. I mean, probably has more gold than anyone but Acuna right now. So, but yeah, the just his pizzazz, his flair, and it doesn't hurt the kid can rake. The kid can rake, play a great second base, and to have pop and to be able to rake from the second base position is there's not many dudes in the majors that can say that. So, huge premium for the Marlins. So I have a feeling that the second base spot is going to be locked down for quite a while. And let's see just to give you the odds on him, let's see, plus 2,500. So you might want to go through a couple bucks on Mr. Chisholm. And JJ Bleday is another dude for Miami. So kind of reading into how is one of the reasons why I picked Donnie Baseball for this, because look at all these studs. Look at all these studs. It's kind of hard not to at least take a look at them. And to be honest with you, if you guys do collect cards, you're going to realize that you're going to find a lot of dudes that aren't even on this list that are going to be players in this. And 2Ks, let's be honest. How often does the favorite for Rookie of the Year actually win it?
Yeah. It's
usually some dude that comes up midway through the season, just enough to get that rookie status, and just blows up. So this is kind of the wild card, but you know what? That's what happens when you're fucking around with prospects, and that makes it more fun. So let's go NL Cy Young. Obviously the favorite in this one, it's no secret, Jacob Degrom. Before his last start, 2Ks, I saw his stat line. I've never seen a stat line like this before. Through the first 3 starts, he's 1-2. I get it. Run support blows ass. 0.45 ERA. 0.45. Which basically means in 3 starts, dude's probably given up 1 run. Just that blows my mind. How do you have a 0.45 ERA and are 1-2? And that lineup should have pop. It's got Pete Alonso, Rookie of the Year, set the rookie record for home runs. You have Francisco Lindor, a switch hitting shortstop that has power. Brandon Nimmo. I mean, there's dudes that should be raking but aren't. But historically, we've seen that. Especially with him, he can be dominant and have a losing record and win the Cy Young.
Yep.
Are you riding that Jacob Degrom train?
Yeah. I mean, I can't go any other way. Look, if he wasn't playing in the National League with guys like Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, I mean, the list goes on of these young players in the National League right now. He would be, to me, he would be easy MVP. This guy is that good, and not only with all those numbers that you just named off of him pitching, he hits the ball too.
Yeah. Pretty sure he leads the Mets in hitting.
Yeah,
especially average.
Yeah,
which is I understand he plays less games, sees less pitches, but dude's batting like 400.
Yeah,
for a pitcher. He's not going deep like Mad Bum used to, but he's getting knocks.
Yeah,
and to be honest with you, he's probably going, do I have to do everything?
Yeah.
Do I need to do I need to steal 40 bags a year too? I mean, what else do you want me to do? What else do you want me to do?
The craziest thing with him too is that he just keeps getting better as he gets older.
Yeah.
He's throwing harder every single year now. And normally when you watch pitchers, it's like, okay, they lose a little bit of that velocity every year. There's a few of them that have been like this. Justin Verlander being
Scherzer's
one.
another one.
Verlander was kind of like, it just seemed like it took him like 5 or 6 years, and then all of a sudden he hit this stride where he went through like a 5 or 6 year stretch where he just kept on. It was like, this guy can't get any better, can he?
Right.
And then the season would start, and it was like, holy shit, this guy's better. And the same thing could be said for watching him when he was pitching in a game. Like, you'd see him pitch the first 5 or 6 innings, and he was throwing like, 94, 95. And then you see him in the 8th, 9th inning, and he's dialing up to 98, 99. And I've seen him hit triple digits. And that's the same style pitcher that we have in Degrom now. Is just he just starts throwing harder as the game goes on. He gets more effective as the game goes on. And yeah, no, to me this one's easy. I just don't see anybody I don't see anybody in all of baseball that can compete with him pitching right now.
No, and I'm obviously going to disagree just because it makes for better content. But you're right. It's kind of like trying, how do you choose against Mike Trout? I mean, that's how dominant Degrom is. We mentioned, Trevor Bauer. I mean, he's the reigning Cy Young Award winner. And you would think that even his chances would go up for the Cy Young because he's moving from a Cincinnati team to a juggernaut over in LA. Sure, I get it. The one that shocks me here is Corbin Burns for the Brewers is number 2. It's number 2. Just to kind of give you the odds here, which I found shocking, is DeGrom's plus 225. Corbin Burns is plus 350. Bauer is plus 750. If you want to throw a couple bucks on Walker Buehler, it comes in at 4 plus 1,200, as well as Max Scherzer. Aaron Nola's had a great start to his season. Brandon Woodruff, Clayton Kershaw, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove, San Diego kid, which we really haven't. We kind of chatted a little bit about him, but we've had 2 no-hitters so far. Him and Rodon from the White Sox. Blake Snell, moving to the National League. He's kind of in the middle of this list. Strasburg, Wheeler, Luis Castillo, your boy Jack Flaherty. Not even going to try to pronounce this dude's name, from San Diego. Michael Soroka for Atlanta, coming back from Tommy John. Sandy Alcantara for Miami. Carlos Carrasco and Pablo Lopez. So towards the end of this list, we're seeing some of those to go along with Sixto Sanchez. Some of those Miami pitchers being on this list. So again, Miami's, if they keep this core together, it's going to be there for a long time. Which is, if you're a fan of the NL East, you're gonna love it. So, but yeah, with this list, I'm gonna go Aaron Nola, just as a flyer. Like I said, he's off to a great start. Is he off to the start DeGrom is? Nope. But he does get a little bit more run production out of his teammates, so maybe that'll swing it. And if he continues to deal the way he is, hell, let's see. Like I said, DeGrom's plus 225. Nola is plus 1,200. So quite a big gap there, but their stats are, I'm not even going to say similar, but Nola still hasn't had that start, if I'm not mistaken, where he's gotten kind of beat up, where Bauer had trouble in his last start. Scherzer's been kind of up and down. He's either dominant or, giving up 3 or 4 runs, which is not really Max Scherzer-esque, but still pretty damn good. So, going to be interesting to see where this one goes. If anyone's going to dethrone Mr. Jacob Degrom. All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. And you know what? I'd save this one for last. because Mike Trout does not play in the National League.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit more wide open. And we kind of already said that Acuna is probably going to lead this charge. Judging from VegasInsider.com 2Ks, Acuna is coming in at number 4. I'll give you... Can you guess who are the 3 players ahead of him?
Tatis.
Nope.
Is not ahead of him?
Nope.
Soto.
Mm-hmm. Soto's number 1. Well, he's tied with the second place guy. Both 2 and 3 have won the award already. I'll give you that hint. Tatis Jr. is right behind Acuna at number 5.
I don't. That just is fucking insane to me that those guys are not in the top. Those are to me are the top 2, but man.
He goes Juan Soto.
Bellinger.
Bellinger's number 3. Mookie's number 2.
Okay.
Mookie's number 2. Acuna. Then, for those of you that want the odds, Soto is plus 750 as well as Mookie Betts. Bellinger's plus 800 as well as Acuna. And Tatis Jr. is plus 900. So just kind of give you some of the other guys on the list. After Tatis is reigning MVP Freddie Freeman. We get to see Nolan Arenado with a good team in St. Louis. Does that help his chances to win this award? Who knows? Corey Seager, Christian Yelich, Francisco Lindor, Bryce, Manny Machado, Trevor Story, Ozzie Albies, JT Realmuto, man, words are hard, Chris Bryant, Ketel Marte, Anthony Rizzo, Pete Alonso, Paul Goldschmidt, most underrated first baseman in baseball, Javi Baez, and Michael Conforto. So are you...
I'm not buying that list, I can tell you that. I mean,
yeah,
that's
like I said, that's why I keep naming the website. So if you guys want to get on here and throw a little action, go ahead, because Vegas Insider it's a legit site. So I'm not making these numbers up, which is why I keep reiterating that. But yeah, there's this one.
And I don't think that I'm not saying that Bellinger and Mookie are not in that top 5. Because they're both in the discussion, absolutely, for me. But are they? In
my opinion, are they ahead of Acuna and Tatis? No.
And I don't think that Soto is in that top 2. I think Soto, Bellinger, and Mookie definitely top 5 guys. But that to me, that order can go any way you want.
Sure.
This is a race that I think is going to come down to Acuna and Tatis. I think those are the 2 guys that the Tatis injury scared me, because then he, but now
seems like it's fine.
Seems like it's fine. And then the whole time that he was out, Acuna was just killing it,
raking. And
man, I'm going with Acuna. Acuna would be my pick on it.
And I'm leaning the other way with Tatis.
Yeah.
I really don't think you could go wrong with either.
Me neither.
The one thing that I will say is that, at least so far this year, granted, both of them have been kind of dinged up. Acuna a little less because it was an abdominal bruise or whatever it was, and not a joint. Especially a shoulder. And to me, what puts Acuna ahead of Tatis so far is Tatis seems to be a little bit more of a streaky hitter. And your boy Kopech's pitching today, by the way. And where that kind of scares me, because if I'm looking at an MVP, I want either Steady Eddie, aka Mike Trout, even though I know Trout goes through his slumps as well. But Trout's slumps are like normal ball players' non-slumps.
Yeah.
So that's the only part that kind of worries me a little bit with Tatis. Is he's more of a streaky hitter, whereas Acuna is going to be that 310, 315, 40 bombs, 110 RBI guy. And he's done it for...
Possibly lead the league in stolen bases also.
Yes,
and yes.
I mean, like we talked about last week, I saw him. I watched the game where he beat out an infield single.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a little dribbler. It was hit to the shortstop. And it was Didi Gregorius, which Didi has a cannon for an arm. Didi made one extra step, and Acuna beat it out. And then he ends up scoring from second, and I mean, the dude's just playing like his hair's on fire, and I love it. There's no, like I said, just jogging out ground balls for this kid. I mean, he wants it, and he's, to me, he's doing everything right for the game of baseball.
Yeah, and like we can sit here and we can talk about Mike Trout for hours.
Yes,
but these three kids in the National League, and talking about Acuna, Tatis, and Soto, like, wow, I mean, baseball is in such good hands to be able to, especially the National League, to be able to watch these three players. And I think that hurts the Dodgers' chance as far as Cody Bellinger and Mookie Betts as far as the MVP conversations, because they have so much star power on that team.
Yeah, it's kind of it's harder to stand out. They're going to cancel
each other out. Yes, to where. These three guys that I mentioned are the guy.
Yeah.
Bellinger's not the guy in LA because Mookie Betts is there, and Mookie Betts is not the guy because Cody Bellinger is there. So, and then after that they have Corey Seager and Justin Turner, and the list just goes on of more legit players in there. And then the pitchers, the star power between Clayton Kershaw, maybe arguably the best left-handed pitcher of all time, and then you have Trevor Bauer, and you know what comes with him.
Mouth of all time.
So, and not only that, but I don't necessarily like the guy, but he's fucking good.
And I'm sure if you polled 100 Dodger fans, I'd be willing to put money that probably 75% of them would say Justin Turner's the MVP of that team.
Yeah,
he's the most consistent. I mean, with all those studs that you're paying a shit ton of money for,
and they rolled into spring training. And it looked like he wasn't even going to be a part of that team.
Took a pay cut to be on this team.
Yeah.
So, to me, I mean, that says that the dude has integrity. He's not chasing money.
Nope.
I'd be shocked if 10 different teams weren't blowing his agent up trying to sign him. Because the dude he's consistent and clutch. And what would be funny is if he ended up with the Yankees, had to cut his hair and his beard. But, I mean, we saw that with Rougned Odor, and no one really recognized him because he didn't have a beard.
Looks like he's like 13 now.
Yes. So, yeah, and like I said, if you were going to start a team, you couldn't go wrong either way, choosing Tatis or Acuna. So, all right. Well, we're 2K crew, we're giving you some overtime today. And let's go division winners here. Let me bring up my list here. I'm not sure what that noise is in the background, but all right. ESPN.com has... Let's go American League East first, because that's who they have at the top. Who you picking?
Yeah, I'm going with Tampa.
Me too. Boston's leading right now, 13 wins, 9 losses. Tampa is a game and a half back at 11 and 10.
Yeah, if I was going to pick it, I honestly think I'd go Tampa 1. I think I'd go Boston 2. I think they have a lot of good players on that team still. I get it that Mookie Betts is gone, and some of those big names are gone, but they got big names, and they got the biggest name back for them in Alex Cora.
Yeah. It was hard for me not to choose Alex Cora for the manager of the year, just because it's night and day, night and fucking day. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Tampa's going to win this division. Boston will get a wild card slot and make the playoffs, which is a huge improvement from last year. And like we said, pretty much just change a coach. How about the Central? Shockingly enough, Kansas City is leading this division, 12 and 7. White Sox are 11 and 9. Everyone else, the Cleveland, Minnesota, and the Tigers are all under 500. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm going with the White Sox. I think this one's pretty easy. I think the White Sox run away with this. I don't think Cleveland is what they used to be. Obviously, you ship a guy like Francisco Lindor out the door.
And not get major league talent back.
Yeah. I think the Twins are just...
And Carrasco.
Yeah,
Don't forget about him.
Mm-hmm. I think the Twins are...
Twins are underwhelming right now.
They are. They really are. They're not a very good pitching team. They don't pitch it very well. They don't play defense very well. They do have some power in their lineup.
They will hit home runs.
Yes.
But if they don't, they're not scoring runs.
Nope. And Kansas City is a very, very improved team. This team is going to be...
Shockingly enough.
Yeah.
I think, I'll say it. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I overlooked this team.
Yeah.
Completely overlooked this team.
Yeah.
And yet again, talking about some young prospects, that farm system over there is studly.
Mm-hmm.
Studly. Keep your eye out for Bobby Witt Jr. when he makes his appearance, because that dude was fucking raking in spring training. So, kind of hard to argue. That White Sox team is young.
Yeah.
The Moncada injury might bite him a little bit, but
Eloy being out. One's... But we talked about the Mercedes coming out of nowhere, and nobody was really talking about him. So, Eloy being down for probably looking like the whole season.
Year. Yeah, unfortunately.
So this kid but this is a team that it sucks that obviously being without him, but these guys aren't going anywhere.
No,
they're very, very young. They're going to be in Chicago for a long time.
Yeah, and it's
the only one I would be somewhat worried about as far as a timetable on them is Abreu, yeah. Just won the MVP.
I was gonna say, obviously, Abreu's the captain of that team. He's the established vet. As far as the pitching staff goes, probably Dallas Keuchel is another one that the window's closing on. But you never know with a guy like him who throws like 80.
Yeah.
Look at Mark Burley, how long his career lasted.
Yep.
But it's kind of hard to argue that. And if this team can pitch more consistently, defend more consistently, they're always going to hit. So, to me, that's... And
they play in a Cracker Jack box for a stadium.
Yes.
So
in a division that's wide open, to be honest with you. There really isn't a... I mean, hell, even the Tigers at 7-14 are 6 games back. 6 games back. Not to say that... which doesn't help, they're on a 3-game losing streak. But are they completely out of it? No, not at 6 games right now. Do I expect them to make some noise? Sure. Do I expect them to win the division? No, not yet. But they're trending in the right direction. So to move out west, to me,
this is tough. This is the toughest division to try to.
This is probably the most competitive, top to bottom. And yes, I will say it with I have an East Coast bias, but this is probably top to bottom the most competitive division. And we've seen the Angels atop this division. Now they're not. They've kind of had. They've lost 7 in a row. Where the aforementioned Athletics 2Ks, they didn't win 6 or 7 in a row. They won 13. 13 in a row. They're sitting at the top of the division, 14-7. However, with winning 13 games in a row, the Mariners are 1 game back at 13-8. Astros are sitting there at 500, 10-10. Angels 9-10, and even Texas 9-12. They're 5 games back of the A's. They're 5 games back. They've lost 2 in a row, whereas again Oakland's won 13 in a row. So, are you riding the A's for the whole year?
Yeah. I think Oakland they win this division. This is a tough one because I think Houston eventually is gonna. Houston's going to be they're going to be right there in it. I think Seattle will fall out in it. I think the Angels, as much as I want them to be good, I talked about it last week, and the Joe Madden factor of having him there. Obviously, their pitching staff is going to be better as soon as Joe Madden steps foot into a clubhouse. That pitching staff is going to improve, but I just don't think that they don't have the power to be able to stick with some of these teams, especially the teams like Oakland and Houston. So. But yeah, I think Oakland runs away with this.
I'm right there with you. They're like we said, they don't have that guy that everybody knows. They have a lot of extremely good players, and it seems like everything's going right over there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going right over there. So let's switch gears to the National League, the NL East. Who you taking over there? We got the Mets sitting atop, this is probably one of the most disappointing divisions, because the Mets are leading this division, even though we talked about how awful their offense has been. At 8-8, they're a 500 ball club, leading this division. Phillies are 10-10, Braves are 9-10. The upstart Marlins are 9-11, and the Nationals, to me, are very underwhelming right now at 8-10. However, they're one game back of the Mets. So there's going to be a lot of moving and shaking in this division. I don't think that the division winner is going to end the year at 500. One of these teams has got to get hot.
Yeah.
And if I'm putting my money on it, it's the Braves.
Yep.
This is obviously the Braves didn't get off to, they seemed like they went as Acuna went. And when he was on fire, that team was winning. They were coming, they would get behind and then forced to come back, even in this young season. And a lot of their 9 wins, I'm sure if you looked into it, were come from behind wins, which to me is a good sign for that team, because not only can they come back, once they start getting leads, or when the timely hitting comes at the beginning of the game rather than the middle at the end, you're going to see a team that's going to pull away from this division. And like we said, I'm pretty sure we haven't even seen Soroka yet. And once the pitching staff kind of gets solidified there, to me that's the best. I still think the Nats have the best rotation possibly in that division, even with Degrom sitting there in New York. But to me, the Braves are the most complete team. Mm-hmm. Do you agree?
Yep, I agree. I think it comes down to them and the Mets. But yeah, if I was going to put lineups, as much as DeGrom's the best pitcher out of the on those two teams by far. But when you start looking at the lineups, Acuna, Freddie Freeman, I'd take both of those guys before I took anybody for the Mets. So
and that's the thing is it. But if you look at this division, like you said, the Mets have Degrom, Phillies have Harper, which, like we said, Harper's off to a great start, possibly the best start of his career. Braves have Acuna. Miami is very upstart. They have a lot of great young studs pitching. Your boy Jazz. And the Nats have Scherzer, Strasburg, Soto. Seems like they would be a little bit more loaded than the Mets. Probably not the Braves. They have a better, more established rotation than the Braves do. But it is only 18 games in. They're only, like I said, if you're a Nats fan, you're only a game back. However, you need to get the ball rolling before the Braves catch fire, because once the Braves catch fire, they're going to take the division over and probably run away with it. All right, well, let's move to the Central. We got the Brewers sitting atop the Central at 12-8. Cubs, even though the Cubs have a horrific offense, sitting at 10-10. Cardinals 10-10. Pittsburgh, shockingly, 10-11. And the Reds, which seemed like they came out the gate on fire, have lost, their last 6. They've only won 2 of their last 10. They're sitting at 9-11, 3 games back of the Brewers. This one's going to be hard to pick. This one's going to be hard to pick. Who you going with?
Yeah, and it's crazy to talk like that, because the last 5 years or so, this has been arguably the best division in all of baseball.
The most competitive.
And it's fallen off. To me, all these teams have really fallen off. But I'm going to ride with the team that, over the years, it just seems to always be consistent, and they always seem to put themselves in there. They have the best catcher that's ever played this game, Yachty.
I knew you were going there.
You got to think that he's going to get this pitching staff going. I love Jack Flaherty. Obviously, I talk about him all the time, but
I'm a huge Adam Wainwright fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have a division that's this tight to me, and there's not really a team that separates themselves, I'm going to go with the guy the team that has Yadier Molina on their team, and I'm going with the Cardinals.
Fun fact is I'm almost positive that Yachty has more home runs right now than he did all last year. And not known for his pop. And just a quick Michael Fulmer update. Saw it on the bottom line. 3 innings, no earned runs, which is great.
And if you keep looking, you'll probably notice that the Tigers have no earned runs either because they can't fucking hit.
I saw that.
God
and
damn.
it's hard to pick against the Cardinals because you're right. It seems like they're there year in and year out. And you look at their lineup. I mean, like I said, Paul Goldschmidt is probably the most underrated first baseman in baseball. Dude is a Gold Glove first baseman, probably one of the better right-handed hitting first basemen. So it's hard to argue that. Could you argue that the Brewers could remain? Sure. They just have to pitch, and Josh Heater can't pitch every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Craig Counsell's tried to get him to pitch every day, but hasn't worked out. And again, 3 games back, if you're a Reds fan, the Reds have the talent to make a run at this division, hands down. Does losing Trevor Bauer hurt? Sure. But, that one's going to be a division to keep an eye on because I think this is going to shuffle a lot. I do think the Pirates are going to fall out of this, but they're 2.5 games back, and I think they've had Kabryan Hayes maybe 5-6 games out of the 21 that they've played so far. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on that. Mm-hmm. All right. Some say the best rest in the West, and pretty sure that was either a Biggie or a Tupac line, and I totally butchered it. But we got the Dodgers. You know, like we said. I think. Let me just double check before I shoot my mouth off here. Yes, they are. They have the best record in baseball, and they've kind of come back down to earth a little bit. 6-4 in their last 10. It just seems like they've played the Padres 10 games in a row,
mm-hmm.
and we kind of foreshadowed that a couple weeks ago when we first started, the baseball talk is them and the Padres are not going anywhere. This is going to be probably the most heated rivalry in baseball probably for the next 10 years. They're going to take the place of the Yankees Red Sox, even though if you are a Yankees or Red Sox fan, the rivalry lives with you.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as we're going to see more Dodgers, like I brought up tonight. Dustin May is going for the Dodgers tonight. I missed who's going for the.
I think it's Musgrove.
Oh yeah, you're right. So, 2 very young upstart kids. I mean, and if you're not entertained by watching these 2 teams, you're probably not a baseball fan. Probably not a baseball fan. But the Dodgers are sitting at top at 15-6. Shocking to me, the Giants are second with sitting there 13-8. Padres are 12-11, which they dearly miss Tatis because when he was out, that team, I said they're 4-6 in their last 10. Lost their winning streak as they lost 1. Diamondbacks at 9-11, and the lowly Rockies, the Nolan Arenado-less Rockies, are 7-13. Which it seems like every time I try to bet against the Rockies, they fuck me. So they're 4 of their last 6. I guarantee 2 of those wins came against teams that I was betting against them. But that's neither here nor there. I'm going to go out on a limb and say both of us are going to say the Dodgers are going to win this.
Yeah.
The Padres are 4 games back right now. Giants are 2 games back. And to me, the Diamondbacks and Rockies are just going to fall by the wayside. Mm-hmm. I think this, and to be honest with you, I think the Giants come back down to earth, and I don't see them being this competitive in this division for, they're probably one of those teams like in July that just kind of hit a wall. Mm-hmm. That and it's 2021, so the Giants only win the World Series on even years, so. Can't pick them, but I could see. I definitely feel like if the Dodgers win this division, the Padres are getting a wild card spot. If the Padres win this division, the Dodgers will get a wild card spot. So I think both of those teams are going to make the playoffs for sure. But they play each other 19 times.
Yeah.
So they're going to beat the shit out of each other. And so far, which I probably should have Googled, see what their record is against one another. Starting out, I think the first 3 the Dodgers took. Lately, the game last night that Tatis went deep twice, Dodgers still won. So it would be kind of neat to kind of keep an eye on the head-to-head against them. And I'm sure when you're watching ESPN tonight, and they will, I'm sure they'll beat that dead horse. So, but yeah, there's in my opinion, there's no way that the only way the Dodgers lose this division is injury, which you never want to see, period. But unless I shouldn't say that. The only way they lose this division is injury, or the Padres get super fucking hot.
Yeah.
I mean, go on a 16-game run where 5 or 6 of those are against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And then, because right now, like I said, the last 10, the Dodgers are 6-4, Padres are 4-6. But then again, probably a lot of those 6 losses came without Tatis.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and this series is between the two of them is even already. I mean,
it is even.
Dodgers have 4 and Padres have 3 wins against each other, but tonight I think I like the pitching matchup with Musgrove for the Padres tonight being on the bump.
Yeah.
So that could very easily even up at 4-4 going out of this series, And so, but yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to come down to these 2 teams in that division. I'd give the nod to the Dodgers just because they have a fucking super team that is just insane. The Padres are getting there. They're young. Their pitching staff is so much improved from what it was last year.
Yes.
Obviously, guys like Tatis on the offense, Eric Hosmer, good players, but they just don't have that top to bottom lineup like the Dodgers have right now. And their pitching staff is probably still a little bit behind the Dodgers also.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, and kind of it's kind of say the kind of the lonely man out is Manny Machado. No one really talks about him. I mean, but if you look at that infield, they better not make a lot of errors because they're paying a lot of money for that infield. They just extended Tatis. Obviously, a couple years ago, they bring in, even before that, everyone thought that Hosmer was nuts to go play for the Padres. Like, well, this is a money grab. I'm pretty sure we said it right here on this show. Yeah. It's a money grab. And obviously, he knew something that we didn't. And then they paid, $300 million to Machado? So that's a lot of money wrapped up in an infield. Yeah. And it helps that a lot of the pitching staff is young. They did make the 2 probably biggest trades in the offseason, going and getting Snell and Darvish. And they've paid dividends so far. I mean, Blake Snell's been very efficient. Darvish has kind of been a little more up and down than I'm sure Padres fans would like at this point. But, he was second in the Cy Young voting last year for a reason. So, 2Ks, I think we've given some, almost 20, almost a half. We almost did 1.5 shows today. 1.5 shows today. Why? Because we love our 2K crew. And when we do these shows and people listen, it usually stirs the pot a little bit because everyone comes at us. Well, you didn't even mention so-and-so. You didn't mention so-and-so. You didn't mention so-and-so. Like, well, we go about this as if we were laying money to win some money. And yes, there's the old adage, scared money don't make none. But you're not just going to flush away money stupidly. So, yes, we are not picking Miguel Cabrera to win the American League MVP. Would I love to sit here on this show and pub him and watch him go through a season where he's an MVP contender? Absolutely. Do I think those years are behind him? Absolutely. But if it were the case, us, we would be lining up, and 2Ks here would probably be driving that bus for the MVP, or even Rookie of the Year, or whoever. We love the Tigers here, so Cubs fans, yeah, 2Ks loves the Cubs. He loves them, and I'm pretty sure we will get some. I don't think. Well, you chose Kopech for the Cy Young, so we did get the a little bit of White Sox love in here, so Frank and Christian can live vicariously through your picks. So, all right. Well, 2Ks, anything you any loose ends we need to tie up here?
No, that's it. I'll be curious to see what this all looks like in about 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, which
probably
we will revisit it. And I'm sure that especially when it comes to the divisions, that's why we pick them early. Mm-hmm. And we pick them early because if we're right, we can go back. We now have proof. So, all right. Well, 2K crew will get you out on that. Have a great week. And like I said, next week we will be doing our NFL draft reaction. All right. Well, 2K crew, like I said, have a great week. We'll see you next week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.